First three off the plate here for Oxley. The Bulls 36-12-1 this year. They enter this ballpark tonight winners of 6 consecutive games. They're 15-5-1 in American Athletic Conference play. Oxley finds her first strike of the night, 3-1. Olivia Elliott has been a big part of it at the top. Everyday right fielder hitting .352. Swats the next foul, count full.
The topic of conversation with the South Florida team has been their offense and their numbers increasing since last year. The numbers don't lie. Even their home runs have increased. Last year hitting 19, this year already 43, and obviously there's a lot of room to go throughout the season.
Well, the payoff misses Olivia Elliott, who has stolen 9 bases in 9 attempts this year. It's a South Florida team that has stolen 52 bases. We'll see how aggressive they get on Jocelyn Erickson, who's tough to run on. Brings in the aforementioned Alexa Galligani. Hits the contact, 27 RBI this year, .362 average. White Plains, New York native. These two teams met earlier this year. That was in that opening tournament. That is an annual trip for Tim Walton's team, and it was a run-rule victory for the Gators. Oxley's 1-0. Command's not quite been there so far, Alicia.
No, and you see Jocelyn calling timeout at a perfect time to be able to speak some gospel into Oxley. She's around the zone, but she just hasn't been able to clip it. I mean, this is the time in the game to be able to establish the zone, see where the umpire is giving you pitches. But right now, she's got to do a better job at trying to find it and be able to create the tempo of the game.
How about Ken Erickson? This is his 28th season as the head coach. Went to a World Series in 2012. And they had to get through Gainesville that year. Won the Gainesville Regional. Has the most wins of any head coach in any sport in South Florida history. As you can imagine, when you're there nearly 3 decades. Well, it's 3-0 now for a second consecutive batter. That one room service down the pike for a strike. Anthony Small is our home plate umpire. Will Lopez Pilat at first. Anthony Marizzi is over at third. Here's Anthony Small. He's anything but big guy. Count now full.
See Oxley starting to find her groove a little bit. 2 straight strikes after 7 straight balls.
Roll back up the middle, diving stop Williams. Holtorf's able to barehand it for the out, so Williams was able to direct it enough to her shortstop and Holtorf to get that force.
And all smiles. I mean, Mia does a really good job defensively at second base and covering ground and lays it all out in the line, kind of shovels it over to Holtorf.
Got to get creative sometimes.
You got to get creative, and it almost looks like, I didn't see it in real time, but in the replay, it almost looks like she stumbled a little bit. But nonetheless.
It wasn't graceful by any means, but an out's an out. You're not going to turn 2 with Galligani running down the line. Brings in Alex Wilkes, a part of this renaissance that we talked about with this South Florida team. She has 9 home runs this season, coming off a year last year. She had 292, but only 1 home run, 12 RBI. And that has now ballooned up to 9 homers and 47 runs driven in. So that's a zoom in to what is a bigger picture, a much different, dangerous offensive South Florida program. There's a strike to Wilkes.
Well, in talking to Coach Carla in the dugout, she spoke to why their offensive numbers have just been so great this year.
First to 1-2 is driven in the air, shallow left field, battling that setting sun into the shadows. Corby Otis, who was the hero on Saturday night, makes the catch.
Spoke a lot about how they just had to slow things down a little bit, trying to hit home runs last year, and a lot of movement within their stances, within their gathering, within their separation, not able to focus their eye levels and see the ball to the best of their ability. Now they're a little bit more quiet and able to make better adjustments, see the ball a lot better, and overall just be more quiet while they're in the box. Brings
in Josie Foreman, who's the veteran catcher. Yeah, last year, according to Carla, they had tried to hit home runs. Now it's just more about contact, trying to drive the ball, but within your own means. Don't try to outswing yourself. Carla Claudio Rivera is who we're talking about, who's a great two-way player in her own right, one of your teammates with the national squad for Puerto Rico. You have a lot of teammates that are on this South Florida team, which we'll get to throughout this game. Strike one to Foreman. A lot of familiar faces. Saw you taking some pictures down at the batting cage.
Have to. I love my people, and I'm glad they are able to, have a lot of success within the South Florida lineup. We'll talk about that a little bit later, but Carla's been able to grace them with her knowledge and her experience. Been on this field quite a few times throughout the years, being under Coach Vaughn as well as a GA. So a lot of connections throughout the ball field.
Yeah. Count now full. So after a suspect start, Alicia, here, 20-plus pitches for Oxley. We've seen primarily 3-ball counts here in the top of the first inning. Can she wiggle without any damage? Runner takes off, and this should end the inning. Shallow right field. Shoemaker the call on the catch, and the inning is over. Taylor Shoemaker is one of those Gator stars that we're going to see in the bottom of the first inning. Kendra Falby, Taylor Shoemaker, Corby Otis to the plate when you return. Clutch swings from this group of Gators that you see on your screen right now that we saw over the weekend, and really big swings from Taylor Shoemaker. What was a multi-homer game and a run rule victory. Had some big swings in the rubber game to ignite a rally, especially in that 7th inning. Meanwhile, they're going to try and throw it back to last year, South Florida. They went with Peyton Dixon to start last season in April. She went the distance, got the victory, and here she is again, Alicia. What makes her click?
Peyton Dixon, the clear ace of the squad, coming from the left side. You're going to see her in the mid-60s. One thing I really love about her balls is she throws the curve to both sides, and when she steps on the mound, you can see it in her face. She's a fierce competitor.
They have two really big arms in Dixon and Belle Sarja, who most likely we won't see tonight. Also, you see the glitter on the black uniform there? That's a tradition started by the strength and conditioning staff opening weekend. A little bit of a sparkle to those black uniforms, which on a hot, humid day, Alicia, 86 degrees, you tend to stay away from the darker uniforms, but you got the glitter there. It makes it pop.
I'm a huge fan of this. I want to take that glitter and put it on my coat right now.
We should have came on camera.
It's really
with
nice.
Glitter. Let's redo our open. I caught a piece of the catcher, Josie Foreman. There's Kendra Falby. All-American pace for her, second all-time in Florida history in hits, 320 hits. Nobody scored more runs amidst active Division I players or had more hits. Just ultra consistent at the top.
That's what I was going to say, Kyle, is
time is called. And here comes Ken Erickson. So, Alicia, you have time here. It's going to be the, I believe, the pitching band that Josie Foreman has to put on for the communication. And here's what you see from Falby, chasing Kelsey Stewart. Most hits in Florida history. See 247 runs, 12 off that mark. Stolen bases. It's been a slog to get to that 119 number set by Skylar Wallace, but she'll get there eventually, I promise.
Yeah, there's a lot of game left. 2 more SEC weekends, got the tournament as well, and the way that things are panning out, regionals, super regionals.
Count now even to Kendra Falby. Gators sit right now coming into the week, second best RPI in the country. And that's one of the biggest metrics as you look at Tim Walton, the Hall of Famer, 20th season as head coach. When it comes to the selection process, who's a top 8 team? RPI plays a very big role. And the Gators is second best in the country. High chopper, this is going to be a tough play. Fielded by Brooks, no play. That is a prototypical Kendra Falby hit. 321 now in her career and a head shake, Townsend Thomas.
The tools that Kendra Falby has in her toolbox are never ending. You've seen her slap, you've seen her hit away, you've seen her bunt for a hit. When you can just put the ball on the ground like this and it doesn't move, it just keeps bouncing, you're bound to get a hit. And you talked about her consistency. She's able to do it in different parts of her game offensively, and that's why she gets on so often, so many different times.
Well, if you're an opposing pitcher, as you take a look, Kendra Falvey had that 48-game reach base streak snapped on Saturday, but has reached in all but one game this year in the 50 the Gators have played. You don't want to see Taylor Shoemaker right now if you're an opposing arm. After an 0 for 19 stretch, which was snapped on Sunday of 2 weekends ago at Ole Miss, she has been a nightmare for the opposition. 10 of her last 21, 2 home runs in that stretch. Both came in one game against Alabama.
I think pitchers have to be extremely selective the way that they throw to Shoemaker, because early in the season she was hitting a lot of home runs. Oppo, you did see her go to the right part of the field, but people started throwing a lot of velo on the inner half to try to get her to pop the ball up a little bit more, and it did work. But she was able to find the barrel on the inside half, and I think just that confidence, and we talked about that sparkle in her eye last weekend, she was able to find it again, and now she's doing what she does.
Well, this could be a double play. Nice catch from Rivera, but Falvey gets back. Nice play from the veteran shortstop, Alana Rivera, one of Alicia's teammates with Team Puerto Rico. And there is one away.
And if I'm Peyton Dixon, I'm taking this. This one left a little bit too over the plate, but got lucky with the line drive straight to Rivera. Really athletic play, heads up play going right to first to try to get 2 on that one.
Rivera, and you know it firsthand as Otis stands in. Tremendous defensive shortstop. What a luxury to have her back for a 5th year.
She's dealt with multiple injuries, Kyle. Came back even stronger and a lot sooner than they anticipated. So a nice surprise by Rivera, but just extremely athletic. More of a quiet leader, but as you can see, leads by example for sure.
Brings in now Corby Otis. Probably saw the highlights from over the weekend. Otis smashes one over third. Anthony Small makes that call right away to say foul. And it went right in front of Tim Walton, buzzing on by for strike 2. You know what's interesting about the weekend for Corby Otis as we take another look here from the shadows through those lines of sunlight, just foul. That walk-off was her only hit this weekend against Alabama. Been scuffling at the plate. Runner takes off. Foreman couldn't get that out of the glove, so Kendra Falvey moving up that all-time list. We showed you the numbers. That's 116 in the career of number 27. Hello, Skylar Wallace at 119.
She's on her tail for sure. I say it all the time. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. She wants that record. You can see it in just how savvy she is on the base path.
Chopper. Falvey heads down to third. Otis is thrown out. So Falvey heads down to the doorstep, and a 2-out opportunity here for Jocelyn Erickson. What's interesting too, Alicia, in this lineup, Corby Otis hitting in 3 spot here. So you have Jocelyn Erickson. These are the situations, dropping her down to clean up to get a little bit more RBI production. 50 ribbies this year with 13 home runs. Erickson hits in 5 of her last 8 games. Takes a little bit out. 4 of her last 7 hits for Jossie have left the ballpark. Her last 7 hits have been a home run or a double. So it's all or nothing for Jossie right now. Saucy Jossie, as they call her. They put it on t-shirts.
They did. I was just looking over social media, saw that good opportunity for these young women to take advantage of the NIL deals they're able to generate. Some cash in their pockets. I remember being a broke college kid.
Yeah, no longer.
So I love that for them.
We hate it for Alicia, but we love it for everybody else. A 2-1 on its way. Erickson takes downstairs. 3-1. And coming off, as you see, 60% of her hits this year have gone for extra bases. A year removed from hitting 15 home runs and a program record 86 RBI that Taylor Shoemaker might be knocking on the door of this season. There's 68. A 3-1 is Luke behind second, who's got it. That is Kathy Garcia Soto spikes the softball in celebration, so that one out, or the opening inning infield hit fails to bloom for Kendra Falvey. She's stranded 60 feet away. SP was a 7-4 South Florida win. First win over the Gators since 2012. The Bulls used a 6-run fifth inning as Alana Rivera leads off here in the Bulls' second inning. Gator pitching just did not have it that day, and if you remember back to last year, that was a tough stretch for Florida. They went on to lose 2 of 3 that weekend at Missouri. Then Florida clicked, and things started to head back in the right direction, and voila, they were at their 12th Women's College World Series in program history.
And that was the theme of last year, is what can these freshman pitchers do in the circle? And we saw that. We saw what Rothrock did. We saw what Ava Brown did as well in the circle, held it down. Typical ebbs and flows throughout the season. Don't know a team that hasn't experienced a few losses.
There's Keegan Rothrock. Can't tell you how giant that start was on Saturday for her. 2-2, Rivera pops it up into that setting sun. It's going to be an adventure over the next hour or so as Walsh makes the catch. And Rivera is retired, brings in Camille Ortiz-Martinez here for the Bulls. We saw Tim Walton in that dugout, and when I talked to him on last Friday, he referenced multiple conversations to try and put a pep in the step of this Gator team after what was a 7-run first inning, a game that we did together last Thursday, and Alabama delivered a right hook. Florida looked flabbergasted. They were just sort of dazed in the corner if it were a prize fight, but they responded. Had the run rule the next day, and then what an epic finale. Back and forth, Gators trail by a lone run in the 6th and the 7th, came back both times. 1-1 to Ortiz-Martinez is a foul ball, strike 2.
That's why you come and play for the Florida Gators. That's why you come and play in the SEC and college softball. Playing competitive is those big moments. Sometimes you've got your back against the wall. Got to figure out how to get out of that, and they did just that this past weekend, winning 2 of the 3 after that loss in the first game. And it was uncharacteristic, but they found their groove and came back the next day and refused to lose. And you saw it in the numbers, you saw it in the hits, and that's what it's about.
Ortiz-Martinez gets hit. We've seen command be an issue here in the early going, especially right out of the gate in the first inning for Oxley. Walks, hit batters, an overall general trend, not a positive one for this Gator pitching staff, as Camille Ortiz-Martinez tries to hop up and down. Your teammate with Team Puerto Rico.
Gotta love her. She's a trip. You can see how much power she has, even in that foul ball that you saw. And haven't seen a ton of first pitch strikes from Oxley. She gets one here out of 32 pitches already, thrown 16 balls.
Yeah, we saw 22 pitches in the first inning as Karis Pierce is going to hit here, freshman from Crystal Beach, Florida. A couple ribbies over the weekend. What was a sweep for South Florida over Memphis? Hoisted in the air, shallow left field, long run for Otis. On a slide, has got it. Runner tags up to second, throw is late. Corby Otis take a bow.
We talk about her offense and what she's been able to provide in these walk-off wins, but look at how she gets under this ball. She tracks it down, makes a long run, gets under it, slides. That is a tough feat to do, and then gets back up, makes the throw, but that's what she practices.
So 2 gone now for Tania Brooks. That was possibly one of the coolest things in slow motion. You have the dirt behind you, that slow motion slide for Corby Otis making that catch.
Where's cool. My camera? I hope someone got a cool pic of that.
It's IG reel worthy.
It is, and the thing about that catch is that this is something that she practices every single day. I had the pleasure of watching practice sometimes, and you see her make those plays during split defense. So this isn't uncharacteristic of her. This isn't some huge play that you might see at home. This is what Corby Otis does.
I hope Corby's family was screen recording there when her guy Scott Snyder played that back on replay.
I don't think you can screen record on ESPN anymore.
Oh, that's a shame. Learn things every inning. Tania Brooks goes down on strikes. Oxley bounces back after a one-out hit batter. Scoreless game. Gators return to the plate when you do. Well, it's a long season indeed. Part of why Tim Moulton's probably grown out that beard a little bit. And he has a pretty good resume as the Gators look towards regionals and mayhem. Second best RPI, second best strength of schedule, nearing 40 wins. 12 RPI top 25 wins, which is a huge metric the committee looks at. You look at the RPI, Texas A&M still has the best RPI in the country. Then it's Florida, Florida State, South Carolina, LSU. So you have two of the top 5 in the RPI that will play this weekend in the Gators and the Tigers from Baton Rouge.
I think the conversation here is, do they want to host in Super Regionals? In order to do that, they've got to get on their high horse these next few weekends and be able to stay up there in RPI and win some games against top opponents.
As Reagan Walsh leads off here, but what that graphic shows you is that the Gators have some leash. You know, if they were to lose 2 of 3 this weekend against LSU, that's not the end of the story of the Gators hosting a Super Regional. I mean, they're firmly in that mix. 4-pitch walk here to Reagan Walsh, leadoff batter, as Peyton Dixon goes back to work here for South Florida. Meanwhile, for the Bulls, they enter in at 15-5-1 in the American Athletic. They have an opportunity in these next 2 weekends to win a regular season championship and perhaps maybe come back here for a Gainesville Regional, which is pretty familiar as Kylie Shaw pitch runs here for Reagan Walsh.
High contenders in the AAC. The only team in front of them is Florida Atlantic by 1 game. Last year, Charlotte having won that title and getting their bid into the NCAA tournament. Bulls looking to stay competitive, and who knows, we might see them here in Gainesville, as you mentioned, Kyle.
Mia Williams now, 0-1 count. Breaks this one on the ground to short, could be 2. There's 1, and not in time. Boy, that was really close. Slick fielding middle infield. Rivera and Garcia Soto get the fielder's choice. Almost turned 2. See if we can get another look at it.
They are just so quick in the infield. This play extremely close. It does look like Mia is safe in real time as well, but those 2 in the middle infield, Rivera and Garcia Soto, are just magicians, excuse me. Tongue-tied a little bit.
Kenley Cahalan now hits, cues one off the end of the bat to short. Rivera, easy play as Williams moves up to second. So the second straight inning, the Gators will have a runner in scoring position here with 2 outs. First pitch hack from Cahalan brings in Ava Brown. Defensively this year for South Florida, just a .954 fielding percentage with 63 team errors. So not the best for this group, but high ceiling, especially for some of those stars in the middle infield. We have a 41 RPI entering the night, top 80 strength of schedule for the Bulls. They've missed a regional the last 2 years. They're trying to buck that trend. Count now 1-1 here to Ava Brown. Dixon, all-conference second team last year in the American. Rocks and fires. Off speed, nabs that outer paint. Strike 2.
Dixon missing her first year due to injury. Georgina Corrick's last year. Would have loved to see them compete together. Learned a lot. Said she has a lot of experience because she's been here a little bit longer due to that injury.
That backdoor curve is her go-to as a rise, drop, and change. Pitched a 1.87 ERA last year. Brown swings and rolls this just foul. The best ERA in the conference a season ago, top 50 nationally in ERA, and has followed that up with a really good season this year. 4th in the American in ERA heading in. Most innings pitched in the conference, so they're going to lean on her and another veteran, a senior, Belle Sarja, who most likely we will not see tonight. Williams at second with 2 gone and a 2-2. In the air, center field. Has some power behind it, but Alexa Gallegani, plenty of room, and the inning is over. So the Gators have stranded 1 in the first 2 trips to the plate through 2, still no offense.